welcome back to another show of The Corner Truth. I am your host, Coach K, and with my wonderful co host, Dr. Kenneth, aka Coach Gray, alongside of me. And if this is your first time joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's kick this thing off. How are you, Coach Gray? What's going on in your world?
My world is busy, so I like it that way. It's this thing about balance, right? And it's always
Yes.
something trying to get you from being balanced. But I'm
Yeah.
good. I know how to
Yeah.
deal with it. I know how to deal with it.
Well, great. I'm good too. There's a lot going on in the world. And of course, there's lots to talk about. But before we kick this thing off, hey, fam, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to let us know your thoughts by sharing them down in the comments section. We welcome that. And also, too, I want to mention to you guys, if there's a topic you'd like for us to discuss or to explore, please put that in the chat as well. All right. And always know that you're free, always feel free to join the discussion. All right. So, our topic tonight
Ooh,
is
ooh,
ooh,
yeah.
knowledge destroying us. But before we get into that, so forever on the show, we always talk about, we see deflections and distractions. We always have to ask why. Why the deflection? Why the distractions? And what's coming next? So I just want to throw that out there. We kept saying something major is on the way. We see all these distractions. And what happened?
Boom.
Bombings. Boom. There you go. And that's not the major thing, but it sets the stage for the major thing that's coming. So I just want to leave that there, put a pin in it, and go back to our topic tonight is knowledge destroying us. What do you think about that, Coach? Do you think knowledge, we're being destroyed by knowledge?
Absolutely. I mean, you can look at the definition. It's dangerous,
Yeah.
and to some, it's a curse. So when we're talking about power and knowledge, right? If you don't know something, you don't know something, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not knowledge. But when somebody teaches you something and you retain it, and you continue to seek more and more of knowledge and things, how things are, it can be used for good or evil. So we have to also, we talked on our show about the association of good and evil. I think knowledge falls under that in a big way. Good and evil is how you use it. So I do believe in some cases knowledge is destroying us, but in a lot of ways it has sustained us as well.
So it's like it's like the coin. It has two
A
sides,
double-edged
you know?
sword. Double-edged sword.
It has two sides. And I always like to say, knowledge in the hands of fools is
Mhm.
dangerous, but actually, it is beyond a danger point. It is detrimental. So we see, people are more and more, everybody's looking for truth, if you will, and more people are pursuing knowledge. And rest
Mhm.
assured that the internet has every piece of information. It has a plethora of information for everybody. It has content on everything and everybody. And this brain of mine, it got triggered and it got to thinking. you know, there is an Egyptian god, and I think the name is it's an Egyptian mythical god, and I think the name is Thoth, Thoth, Thoth,
Okay.
and he's actually the god of knowledge.
Mhm.
hmm And so I'm just looking at everything that's going on. You know how we have the clickbaiting um, with YouTube. They put out this false information, and people go on these deep dives, because like I said before, everyone's in search of truth, but people go on these deep dives sometimes that can really lead you down a very dark hole where it's impossible to come back from. And so with all the so-called knowledge out there, people are thirsty for it because they want that information. But again, like I always say, all information ain't good information, you know and knowledge is just like anything else. Well, I can't say like anything else, but since we talk a lot about AI, it's like AI, it's a tool, but it's a tool that's supposed to be assisted by wisdom to help you gain an understanding. Because what good is having knowledge if you don't have the wisdom and knowing how to apply it? And so I look at that as people are just like worshiping knowledge to have some kind of power, you know, some kind of hold over folks. And the one thing that I've found in these divided states of America that everybody is unified when it comes to having a thirst for knowledge. And so, like I said, when you go back and you see these platforms, you see these clickbaits, they put out just a little bit of information to draw you in. It's just that, it's to draw you in. And if you don't have discernment and you don't go back and fact check things and cross reference, then you're drawn into that web. And then what happens is you become a carrier of those lies and you spread them. Just like they have this trending thing on YouTube now. Have you seen it? that Jim Carrey has been replaced? Like, what the hell, people?
Uh,
You, Jim
uh,
Carrey is being replaced. They have this thing that he's been cloned because I think some months ago he spoke about the industry and the Illuminati, and they don't like it. So everywhere on the feeds is Jim Carrey. What happened to Jim Carrey? Why couldn't it be that Jim Carrey probably just got he's well into his 60s? Why couldn't it be he just got some work done? But no, they want to take that knowledge, that information, so that we can get out here and spread these lies. He's been replaced. He's been cloned.
well, again, remember, we grew up on Adam and Eve, and why we're in this situation. The tree in which the apple or the fruit, forbidden fruit, that was bitten, it wasn't a tree of sin. It was a tree of knowledge. And the
Mm-hmm.
saying, once you eat of the fruit, you will now know what God knows. If
Mm-hmm.
all these things that are happening in the world, God knew them and now we know them, we take the knowledge and we use it accordingly to build bombs, to love people, to hate people, to help people. It's still something that has to be taught, because when babies are born, they have a period of innocence. They don't know anything. So it has to be fed, has to be filled up. You have to fill that baby up with hate and things. And then once you get a certain age, you should be able to decipher some of the things, what's really good and what's bad. But if you are so entrenched in what you know and it's all you know, you're very limited in your knowledge. Now, you said a lot. I mean, you said a lot, right? But the thing about it is knowledge, like you said, is a tool. And because it's a tool, well, the search we used I watched this movie years ago called Quest for Fire. I'm not sure if you ever saw it. It was cavemen trying to find fire to stay alive. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, it was the fact that if didn't have fire in the ice age, they would actually die because it was too cold to survive. So that's the quest for survival. I think knowledge today is a quest for survival. They use a different tactic to survive. Now that we have this modern day, we can make our own fire, we can make our own bombs, we can make a whole lot of things. Look, at the end of the day, right, we're talking about how something as amazing as knowledge can be dangerous at the same time, right? It's an individual.
Detrimental.
It's an individual thing. Detrimental. It is an individual who would decide Cain and Abel, one killed out of strife, jealousy, all that because he had the knowledge to kill. If he didn't know how to kill, he would have never done it because Adam was not created with knowledge. He was created with order. He was created to follow and be obedient to what God said until the tree of knowledge was eaten from. That's what I grew up on. That's how I see it. Right? So where are we now in this day and age where knowledge is power? I hear it all the time. Knowledge is power. How powerful? Only
So
based off of it.
I'm glad you mentioned the word obedient. You said that Adam was created to be obedient. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but I feel like it's worth revisiting and giving a refresher. So, you know, since we want to tie the Bible into it, the word obedient, it's not even in the Hebrew Bible. And so when words get translated out of its original
Mhm.
language and context, we lose the definition of the word. So
Mhm.
the word, it actually means in Hebrew to hear, to listen, to
Mhm.
get an understanding. That's what
Mhm.
the word obedient means. So it
Mhm.
means, so if you want to um, place Adam in there and you want to use the word obedient, yeah, he was created for relationship,
Exactly. And to
to
listen,
hear, to
yes,
listen,
absolutely. Mhm.
and to get an understanding. And so that kind of ties into the knowledge piece. People
Mhm.
don't, not all people, because I've not met everyone, so that can't be an absolute truth. But what I observe is, for the most part, people are seeking to gain knowledge not for understanding purposes, but to use as ammunition for
Absolutely.
control, for
Yes.
power,
Yes.
to say, hey, for gossip purposes, for malicious purposes. Hey, did you hear this about so and so?
Mhm.
For counseling people. We live in a counsel culture. It's not about getting an understanding. It's all about control. And we blatantly see that with Elon Musk and those alike, building these AI agents. And it's all about control. And it goes back again that two things can be right at the same time. And just like the
Yeah,
coin,
absolutely.
there's two sides to every coin. AI
Yes.
can be used as a positive tool,
Yes, it
and
is.
the the the
This is
latter
it.
part of it, yeah, it's not being used for so great a good, especially with what is it, the LLM is the larger language models that are building out these super AI agents. Right now they are replicating the humans, right? The human mindset, the thought
Mhm.
patterns, right?
Mhm.
But it's going to come a time where you will no longer be able to decode these things and to tell it what to do. And since we're talking about knowledge and it's replicating the humans lie. Humans lie. Humans are the
Uh,
most wicked things here on this earth. And so if it's replicating us, you don't think that someday, even if not now, that those
well,
AI agents will lie? And see,
well,
one of the things I
that's
see
the
is,
plan. That's the
mhm,
plan. See,
it's
if
deceit.
yes, but remember the story of the lady who owned a python, right? And the python was in the bed with her, but the python wasn't eating, and she thought the python was sick, so she took the python to the veterinarian and say, listen, my snake hasn't eaten in weeks. And so the veterinarian asked a simple question. Does this python, is this python near you? She said, yes, I have the python sleeping in bed. She said, this python isn't sick. This python is sizing you up to see how much weight it needs to lose to eat you. Okay. So what I'm saying to you is they're playing this bait and switch situation. They're going to make you believe, come get some candy. Here you go, little girl, little boy. And then all of a sudden, these bots have a wiring and a sensory to control when it's time to control us. That's their agenda. I don't have to listen. All you got to do is read what they're saying. They want 10 billion bots on this earth. There's only 8.1 billion people. So that's a bot for every person. So what do you think they're doing it for? It is to control us. It is to
So
take. That's what it
so I
is.
don't want to get off on an AI tangent. I just wanted to make the
No, but
correlation
it's
about
still the
the
knowledge.
knowledge,
It's still the
right?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
still the knowledge that they're
Mhm.
using, put in these bots and these things to what? They don't lie. They do what is programmed as obey, right? To listen and to do what your programmer is telling you to do. It's godlike.
So, so with this thing, with the knowledge aspect of it, it kind of reminds me of, again, knowledge being placed in the wrong hands is very detrimental. And when I see the worship of knowledge, see, we create gods, we ourselves, we humans, we create gods, and then we worship the god or gods that we create instead of worshiping the God that gave us the ability to create. And I say that whether you are a believer or atheist, you still worship a God. Um, so with this knowledge piece, I see it as a form of worship. I got to get more. I got to get more. I got to get more. And that's the danger part of it. And we see that in the plans that are being put out there with uh, the creation of these bots. You know, um,
Mhm.
it's you see where it kind of reminds me of, since we want to go biblical, the Tower of Babel. The tower,
Yes.
building the Tower of Babel.
Mhm.
And got so caught up in worshiping knowledge, and they thought that they were greater than the God that created them. And look what happened. And I feel like, from my own personal opinion, that this is a world this is the world that we are living in now. Just look at everything that's going on and how knowledge or information is being used. And not saying that it's not being used for the greater good.
No.
Again, the flip side of that coin is it's also being used for the not so greater good.
That's called a lie. Alternative facts, lies, the whatever you decide you want to do. See, again, I love knowledge, right? When you use it, like you said, the tool. I think last week we were talking about the knife. When you walk in the wilderness and said, "This is a knife for you to go out and survive." That tool cleans the brush so you can walk. Maybe kill for your food so you can eat, maybe help you build a hut or something for shelter. But if someone came around and tried to harm you, you now went from a survival tool to a weapon to where it may have to be something to defend and kill. So
So do you see knowledge as a weapon?
it's a weapon. Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely it is.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And again, in the
Right.
wrong hands, it's dangerous. In the wrong hands, it's a curse, right?
So
So
what
in
do
the
you
right
mean in the wrong hands?
say,
So let's break that down. What do you mean in the wrong
well,
hands?
let's say this. Um, I think the gun is the one that people say mainly. People don't kill people; guns kill people. Okay. Um, Last time I looked, guns don't do anything but sit there on the rack unless you use it to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way a gun will kill you if someone has the knowledge of understanding how to use it to kill. Right. You just don't go over there and get a gun because some guns will. It has such a great kick. It'll knock you out when you shoot it because you don't know what you're doing. It's a use of the use of a car. Yes, I want to drive, but I don't have a license. I don't. Nobody ever taught me. Right? It's a nice to have, but yet that car can become now a weapon of running through people because I wanted to drive and I have no knowledge of driving. That's knowledge that's how it's dangerous when it's in the wrong hands, right? And
Yeah.
perception
So
sometimes can be the problem as well. Perception.
I see it as it's dangerous in any hands when not applied correctly. It is. It's dangerous in any hands when not applied correctly. Now,
Problem.
again, when it's in the hands of fools, then it's detrimental.
It's
So,
detrimental. I agree.
yeah.
I
So going back to
totally agree. Yes. Yes.
yeah. So one of the things with this show is we like to provide the viewers with information that they can use, and to warn against, you know, kind of latching on to everything that's out there and going down these rabbit holes of narratives that lead to darkness and dark truths, and I see it as, with the internet providing so much information, I see it as another means to create contention and
Mhm.
division. Because what happens is you go on these platforms, and it may be your favorite podcaster or whomever, and they put something out there, and you just take it and run with it, and let's say I bring it to you, and then you disagree, and now we're in an argument. No, because
It's
Coach Gray said this, and this is what he said, and
It's
it
the
just
polka dot.
creates.
It's the polka dot theory. Remember last week we talked about the polka dot? We get it all. It's
Yeah,
us with you.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So for those viewers who weren't on the other week, the polka dot theory was just speaking information to someone, and by the time it gets to the last
Yes.
person, it has a completely opposite narrative of what was
Origins.
initially
Origins.
spoken.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, a different origin. Yes. So, but again, it will forever keep you divided, and that's what I see that's going on. People are treating YouTube like, it's the news, it's the Bible of the news, and everything is accurate, and everybody, everywhere you turn, somebody's popping up with a new YouTube show, and they're using these clickbaits to get you in, and it's all a bunch of lies. And then you also have to be careful. You have to use discernment and know, because it's so tricky now. AI has YouTube channels. And again, it starts off, most times I've found that it starts off with part truth. And that's how they get you in with that clickbaiting. And then once
But
you get in there, it's
yes,
all over the place,
but
and
that's how a
running
lie
with this
starts.
information.
The lie
Huh?
starts with the truth, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So
this is what I mean by worshiping and it being dangerous. And my goal is to make sure, listen, this is a time that we need to be in search of truth, but it needs to be truth. It needs to be cross reference, not because it feels good, not because it
you
sounds
got it.
good, not
You got it.
because you
You
are
got it.
a logical thinker. A lot of times people want things to make logical sense.
Yes.
And if it
Yes.
doesn't make
Yes.
logical sense, and you're not able to draw a point from point A to point B, then they automatically dismiss it as truth. As truth,
How
yeah,
many
it cannot
times?
be true if it doesn't make logical sense.
How many times in class we turn in our paper to the teacher, knowing we have all the answers. And when we get it back, we're thinking, what's this? What's this E? What's this F? She said, well, I graded it. And based off of what your answers were, they were not correct. So what you're saying today is there is no teacher in YouTube or Facebook and Instagram because you're not checking it. You're not vetting it. You're not doing the research. You are taking it for face value. And on this show, the corner truth, it could be my truth. It could be Coach K's truth. And then it could be the truth out there somewhere else because my opinion
Absolutely.
is mine. My facts may not be,
Absolutely.
but my opinion on the
Absolutely.
show is mine.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up because things that we do delve into when it comes to things that are happening in the world and history, one of the things that I do is I actually it needs to be yes, it needs to be exact. One of the things I do is I cross reference that thing until I can't cross reference it
That's what
anymore because I don't want to
yeah.
purposefully put out misinformation because I am not in a position of leading people astray. I'm on this journey of truth and I want people to exceed in their journey of truth just as much as I want to put the truth out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the goal is to make sure that you're doing just that you're cross-referencing and that you're not taking everything as face value and you're not being dismissive of things that are truth because you're not ready to handle it because you want to stay in your safe little lane or it doesn't make logical sense to you because you
Yes.
will miss the
Yes.
boat then.
Listen, listen. I'm gonna put my coach's hat on in the film room. We have practice. We prepare you for game. We have a game. We play. We watch film. When I look at film, I'm looking to see and validate what we taught in practice if it carried over in the game. And if it doesn't carry in the game, one thing lies. It could be me, it could be my player. But one thing will not lie is the film. The film won't lie. So when I
Hmm.
take a look at the film, thinking we taught it, yeah, prepared, and they implemented. Okay, well, if they implemented and everything we taught was on point, the other team had to be better because what we taught was to win. That's the only
Hmm.
criteria. But what
Hmm.
happens when the film says you didn't do what you said do? You did.
Hmm.
Well, now the
Hmm.
film is our only true the truth in the room. Because I can say you
Hmm.
didn't do it because I saw it. You said you did it, but wait a minute, let's go to the film. We need
Hmm.
to do that. That's three different phases where we only relying on one right now. And that
Yeah.
is what you believe and perceive and what's being put out there because it's poison. It's
Mhm,
absolute
mhm,
poison. So
mhm.
therefore, I'd rather be poisoned, but I'd rather have the poison that's going to kill me in 100 years versus instantly. Okay? Choose your poison wisely.
So listen, I used to I've talked many times before about me not being um let me see, hold on. Someone says when evaluating a source, know your author, the motivation for writing the piece, and the people paying to generate the information. Yeah, that facts right there. That is true. Yes, like with anything, know the author, know your audience. Yeah, just
Mhm.
make sure that they are credible, that you're getting your information from credible sources. Um, and again, let me tell you, you do have to check some of these posts that are on YouTube because
You
it's
do.
getting they're
You
getting
do.
better and better with convincing the people that these are actually people behind these platforms when it's
Mhm.
actually AI. And if
Mhm.
you're not aware of
Mm.
certain topics that's being presented,
There you go.
you are going to
There you go.
accept that stuff as
There you
face
go.
value and as truth. And I've found
Well,
many flaws in those YouTube posts and on those platforms. So this is why you have to be in the know and
I'm
cross-reference everything.
I'm almost translating tonight as a coach, right? Because if I told you, a coach told you to do something, you go over in the stands and listen to your mom or your dad, and you do what they say, we got a problem, don't we? We have a problem. So I love where you are. It's every coach that I talk to, we can have a system that's undefeated because it's our playbook. We think it's going to work and beat everybody. That's the mindset. But if you don't have the personnel, if the personnel doesn't exist to implement, you have a personnel problem. Everything that you said, what you just read about, the generating the information and be careful who the author is, because if you don't vet that person, we got a problem. Because who are you
So
listening
here's
to?
what so here's what was being taken advantage of, because people will take advantage of information and lead you to something dark. I said that before. But you can't be mad at the information that's being put out there because why? People are consuming it. They are
And
consumers. And
free
the more
speech.
you
Yeah,
consume, huh? The
free
more you
speech.
consume,
Yeah,
the more of this they're going to put out. So it's just like you spoke of movies earlier. So movie directors, they present movies based on what the people like. If it's
entertainment.
sex
Yeah.
and numbers.
Yes,
So
yes.
they look at these algorithms, look at what you pay the most attention to. And so as a consumer, they are going to continue
The
to
data.
feed you. And this
That's
is why I say I am
that's
selective
that's
about
right.
what I click on YouTube, because I don't want an algorithm thinking for me. I don't want garbage popping up into my feed. And a couple of times something has
Right.
slipped through there and I'm like, yeah, dear algorithm, how did I get here? How did this get into my feed? And so those are things too. So you have to be careful of things that you click on, because the more you click, the greater it
It's
increases the algorithm, and it will begin to feed things that
it's
it thinks that you're looking
right.
for into
Right.
your feed. And
Right.
then you start to get fixated and consume this information, this false information. And then the treacherous part is you participate by passing it along.
Is it ironic that it's a feed? Out of every word that you could use for it to be,
Yeah.
it's feed. So let's
Mhm.
let's tell you this wonderful story. A lady asked a Native American chief about the wolf, and he said there's two types of wolves. Two types. One is good and the other's bad. So the lady asked the question, well, which one is stronger? It depends on which one you feed the most.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
that's it.
Mhm.
That's all it is what we consume.
Mhm.
It's what we
Mhm.
want to eat.
Always. Yes, yes. That thirst, that hunger. And see, I take the time to mark, oh, uninterested. Okay, that's good to know. You mark that on YouTube. She said, I take the time to mark uninterested. And I guess that lets the algorithm rhythm know not to
How many people know
project
that?
that or put,
How
huh?
many people know that? How many people know that, right? How many
Well,
people
you know
know?
now on this
Know now.
platform, you know
That's
now,
right.
and
It's
this
a
is
platform,
this
absolutely.
is why we're here to
Mhm.
help people, to give people information that they can use.
Is
Well, I want to
power.
take a second, huh? And what? And
Information
is
is
what?
power.
One more time.
I said information
Information.
is power.
No, it's not. How many times I
No,
have to
I'm
say
just,
that?
I,
Information.
hey, listen, I'm just going with the flow here. What they
It's
say
only
is,
power when it's applied correctly.
and
It's only power when it's applied correctly.
and
So
I'm
that's a
joking. I'm just joking because I listen to it all the time. It's a joke to
uh-huh.
me. It's a joke to me.
Well, this is something that's serious. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. So, fam, once again, we have an upcoming event on March 21st from 6 to 10 at the Mount Olive Community Center in Annapolis. And this is to celebrate some of our honorees from the legends past and present and future. I always say that incorrectly, but from the legends from the past and future. There you go. So, again, the tickets are $50 in advance, $55 at the door, and there is still time to donate to this worthy cause. So come on out and celebrate. Get your party on, get your eat on, and listen to our keynote speaker, the Honorable Carl Snowden. All right,
Snowden.
hope to see you there.
Snowden.
All right, so back to you, Coach Gray. So this
Yeah.
is, I felt like this was, it wasn't one of our most passionate topics, but I felt that it was one that needed to get out there.
Absolutely.
Again, like I say, on this platform, the goal is to give information that people can use and always offer some tips. Again, we don't want everybody out here who's in search of truth to be taking everything at face value because we're going to need a lot of wisdom, particularly in the days moving forward as we see the bombs being dropped everywhere. We need to stay diligent, we need to stay on alert, and we definitely need to stay informed, and that is with real news, because let me tell you, it's hard to get real news out here these days. And again, we have people taking advantage of that, and it's very quick to put out fake news. So let's just
Mhm.
make sure that we are in the know and that we're cross referencing everything that we're coming across in our feeds, even things that are being not necessarily on platforms, just when we're in day to day conversations with other people. Let's cross reference things. Let's make sure that it's factual. Let's try not to get our feelings all involved and be so dismissive of things that could possibly be truth.
Right.
Um, I think I want to bring up, since we're talking about information, I don't want to go into a full drawn out discussion on it because maybe we can pick this up in another show. But since we're talking about information that folks can use, I was so taken aback. And I'm sure you are aware of this, but I wasn't, with the mere fact that once you are given a birth certificate, it tracks you for different purposes. And I'm like, wow, little unbeknownst to me that with a birth certificate, you are differentiated from a human being and a person. So with a birth certificate, you're no longer considered a human. You are considered a person. And there is a difference between a person and a human. And so now you become like the property of a state.
There you go.
You become
There you
somebody's
go.
property. You
Yes.
become an entity,
Yes.
not a
Yes.
human,
Yes.
but an entity. Someone that they can tax,
Hmm.
someone that they can bring criminal charges against. You're no
Sell.
longer seen as a human being.
Sell.
Sell?
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen. Listen. And when you talk about information, this one here, everyone out there should know this. If you are an African American or Black person deemed, because it matters. Because if you go back to the Moors and you go back to the relationship with Morocco, it was called a slave trade. Okay, and there were certain words you couldn't use for the slave trade, the ones that's being traded. They weren't human. They were property. Okay, so we
Yeah.
had to call a certain thing for commerce. America is a country of commerce. Everything is a business. The
Mm-hmm.
original flag, if you take a look at the American flag, is on everything. Everything, all the packages, it's on everything as a stamp of the property of the state, of the corporation, right? So you and I, we are property, all of us. But see, some people get a birth certificate, but it doesn't apply to them. You
Mm-hmm.
got because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they're not called African Americans or blacks. We're the only race that had almost five different names because they don't know who we are because we are a thing. We are a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Property, you can name anything you want. So what I say to
Yep.
everybody that's deemed to be African American black, go to the taxation office and get a sole proprietor and get your name back and make this company in this country pay you for your name. Okay, you
I
now
know that's right because
own it.
yes,
You own it.
yes, yes, because we are somebody else's business instead
Absolutely
of
we are.
having our own. If you look at
Absolutely
it
we are.
that we are actually
Absolutely we are.
someone else's business. They
Absolutely,
are
man.
making money off of
That's right.
our
That's
name. Making
that's
money
right.
off of our names.
So I tell everybody it costs you no money to get a sole proprietor. Go down to the taxation office tonight. You could be in business for yourself and your name now. They have to pay you for every mile, for every meal, for everything you eat. They got to pay you back. That's what I say.
See, this is why we're here. This
I've
is why
already
we're
done it.
here.
I've done it for
We
30
on that.
years.
We're on that flip
30
side of the
years.
coin of knowledge where we're putting out good information that you can use that's useful to you. Yes, this is the purpose of
Buy
this
your name back.
platform.
Make them pay you. You don't need
Yes.
reparations. Reparations is your name. You now own your
Hmm.
name. They got to pay you 49 cents a mile every time you go down the street in the name of your company, which is you. Every time you buy a
Yes.
piece of chewing gum or go out to dinner and drink your drinks and buy your clothes, you can write that off in your name.
And see, this is great. I didn't know it was 49 cents. I learned something new myself
49
tonight.
cents a mile. You
And
just
this,
can't
I
you just
love this.
cannot write off gas. Everything else you can write off, baby.
Hmm. I absolutely love this because this kind of coincides. I was talking to my sister the other day, and we talk about a lot of things, and we always have like just various conversations, and we were talking about companies and jobs not paying you what you're worth, and
Yeah,
I was saying to her,
yeah.
nobody's ever going to pay you what you're worth. Never,
I
ever, ever.
own I own me.
Yes. And so I'm going to give you what I think you're worth. And the only way you will make your worth is by having your own business.
Your own business.
Because then
You run
you
that
can
business and
charge,
that's right.
and then
That's
you
right.
can charge your worth. And
That's right.
then coupled with
That's
what you just provided to the viewers, listen, this is what we all need to be on the bandwagon doing. How can we make our worth? Six figures is not enough. I mean, if you just consider yourself worth six figures, then you devalue yourself. Because hey, there's no amount of money out here that can tell me what my worth is. I'm worth far more than that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Well, I don't want any person telling me what they think I'm worth and paying me what they think I'm worth when I have to spend long hours on the job trying to please you, trying to climb the ladder and do what thus say ye. And then
right.
one day I'm in good, and then the next day it could be one little thing that I've done wrong and I'm kicked out, I'm blackballed, and now I can't climb up and get that next promotion because you didn't deem me worthy.
So what
No.
did our so-called president say? Okay. He said the system is rigged. Before he became the president, he said the system is rigged. I know because I use it and all of you up here do too. When you are bankrupt seven times, your bankruptcy seven times, and you will still have resources and you have money.
Mhm.
How do we do that?
Mhm.
Bankruptcy is supposed to be something that will destroy you, supposedly, unless you know how to play the system, right?
Yeah.
You got to know how to play the system, and the system has rules. Now, remember 2008. I mean, yeah, when everybody was losing their homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you were, matter of fact, let's go to COVID. Let's go back to COVID. If you go to COVID, if you were a renter, right? They gave you this, they gave you this protection. But if you were a homeowner, ownership, oh, they gave you stuff that you couldn't imagine. They told you you're
Mm-hmm.
okay. We got you. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because the banks own that. The banks don't own those apartments like that. It's the
Mm-hmm.
banks who has the liquidity, who had the money, the power. That's why you need to get a business entity in your name. Cost you no money. Look, and your tax ID number, like someone says, here's your tax ID number, good forever. They can't
That
stop you.
that's the question. I think that's a question they were asking. Is your tax ID number good forever?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, here's the point. If you don't, here's how you do it. Let's say it sits dormant. Nobody can get that name, that business name entity, unless you forfeit it. Okay. But if you want to revive it, you can let it sit for years and revive it. It's going to cost you $300 to revive it. It is still under your name because you get a tax ID number from the IRS. It's still under your name. It's only number that's gonna be issued to you. That's it. You own that. That's your thing. You don't even have to get a tax ID number. Your social security number is
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
use the you
It's
could use the social
it's your
security number,
EIN number, right?
EIN,
It's
or you get an option, your social security number. That's it.
yeah,
That's your option
yeah.
forever.
Now, if you can, since we're on this topic very briefly, tell the viewers if you have knowledge of it. What is the difference between a sole proprietor and an LLC?
Well, the LLC, you have protections, limited liability, right? A sole proprietor is just you. What happens? Everything is your name. You don't get a business name unless you get a DBA, which is doing business as. But that
Right,
DBA falls under your sole proprietor umbrella. Okay. So if you don't even have, let's say you have sole proprietor and it's your name, but yet you want to go over here and say, I want to do Coach K's lawn service. Well, you go and say, can I get Coach K's lawn service? And nobody has that name. You pay for that DBA to use that under your sole proprietor, but your LLC is limited liability insurance. So if something happens, they can't come after you; they come after your business. But if you do something, it comes after you because you're the sole owner of
right.
everything. So it can tap in all
Okay,
your personal assets and so on. So that's why they have
okay.
LLCs. And as you have S corps, you have incorporations. It's a lot to help protect you. But here's the best news about that. What they don't understand, the best news is everything you are spending or wasting, you can write that off as an expense if it's deemed to be for the company. Do you understand?
Gotcha. Yes, so we have to get smart. So again, we always offer these thought-provoking ideas because again, we want everybody to come together. We want to know how to do better, as a community, as a unit, because we want to climb up out of this hole.
Let,
We
let me
don't want to.
before I
Mhm.
move that, I'm going to cut you off. But let me say this: if we all go get that business today, do you know what that would do for the economy? Do you know what they will see as all these businesses have been started? Do you know what happens? People are going to want to know who all these businesses being created, and they're going to want to do work with you some way, somehow.
Let's
And if we work together as business, now that ecosystem, Black Wall Street, comes back to us.
You took the words out of my mouth. The Black Wall Street, yes. And this is, this excites me because this is what we talk about. How do we get this thing going? What do we always
That's
talk
how we do
about?
it.
What do we do? We talk about how to get solutions. We've talked about, having conversations with our family, monthly dinners, sitting down with our children, sitting down with our family. These are things that help us rise up. So I say, fam, let's rise up. Let's get down to Baltimore or wherever and let's get this going. Let's start
This
creating
is what
these
I
sole
say.
proprietors.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
if your kids turn 18, go get a sole proprietor in their name because now they're an adult. When they go off to college, they go off with a business. Okay? They go off with a business. So trust me, it's going to work to our benefit if we do it the right way. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're going to pay taxes on it. You pay taxes on everything. You can die and you still got to pay taxes. So what are we talking about when it comes to taxes? It's just part of the process, right? If they turn 18, teach them the business. Teach them that you're not property anymore. You're not inhuman. You are a business owner and you
You are
own.
not a perpetual slave.
Not
Yes,
at all.
yes.
Not
This
at
is how
all.
we rise up. This is how we make our voices
That's right.
heard.
That's right. That's
Love it.
how
Love
that's
it.
how it's done without putting out zero, not one penny, not
Mm-hmm.
$1 you have to put out. But
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing. They got to pay you if you don't make 1 cent. Why? Because every mile you take, they got to pay you 49 cents. At the end of the year, you write that off. So they're going to pay you for looking
There
for
you go.
work, for looking
So
to be.
there you go.
That's how it works. That's the system.
So
That's the
fam,
system.
now you have it, and I definitely do not want to be a hypocrite. Just as I said earlier, don't just take our word for it. Go and cross-reference and fact check yourself, because there may be other information out there that you can use as you go and rise up and go get your sole proprietorship.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. In
Well,
your name.
in your name, take your name back and make it work for you.
So what is
Well,
what is
fam,
what is the president saying? We're taking our country back. Well, now
yeah,
take
take
your
your name
name
back.
back
Take your
in
name
this
back. I like
country.
that thing. Yes, take your name back. Take your business back. Take your business back. Take your name back. Take your business back. There you go. Well, fam, it's been another wonderful evening spent with you. Great being able to share this information. Hope it was news that you can use. And as always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you next time. I am Coach K. This is my co host, Coach Gray, and we are out.